Good morning, fish keepers. Cam here from thefishroom.co.nz. I hope you're well. I know you're happy because it's Friday. Celebrate Friday with coffee. It's a good bit of coffee right there. It's a really good bit of coffee. All right. So, what do we got today? We've got a special guest, which is always exciting. But in true proper me form, I'm 100% unprepared, and I literally in my notes all I've got is interview with Josh. So without further ado, let's add him in. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Not too bad.
That's
Still
good.
kind of dark over here. It's just the sun's just waking up.
Sun's just waking up. What about 8 o'clock round about there?
Yeah, it's 8 a.m. But it's where I live. It gets in winter, gets really foggy. So you get up this time of day and go, oh, it's horrible out there. And then you drive out of the valley, and all of a sudden it's clear and still cold. But yeah.
So an apologies from John. He's unwell. He was going to join us. So everybody else who watches and has been around for a while knows who John is. So it's just me and you today, buddy.
I take that as disrespectful and hurtful, and
I'll let him know word for word.
Is the sound all right from my end?
Yeah, man, we're all tickety-boo.
Yeah, cool. Sometimes I forget to have an actual mic on.
As I said before, I'm so unprepared. I have absolutely nothing, no scheduled questions for you whatsoever. So let's start with the basic. Your age, sex, and location, please, sir.
I am 36. Yeah, that's about to change. I'm a male. Don't think that's about to change. And I live in Victoria, Australia.
All right. So let's not hold that against you, I suppose. So you're obviously a fish keeper, and you've been cranking on YouTube for a little while now, doing your fishy stuff.
Yeah.
What got you into the aquatic hobby and keeping fish?
When I was about 8 years old, my dad kept telling me about how he had big tanks with Oscars and all this stuff. And at that stage, when he said tanks, all I could think of was water tanks.
Yep.
I was like, why would you keep fish in like a massive tank and you can't even see them? And then I was like, oh, you mean that sort of tank? I want one of those. And eventually he gave in and went, well, actually, I talk about it all the time. I should get one for Josh. So we got a little tank, maybe a 20, 30 litre tank, and just got some white clouds. But I remember like every step of the way just being excited about finding where to put it, filling it up. Going down to, there was actually a fish farm down here, which is insane. I'm really sad that they aren't open anymore. But it was just this guy's house, and you go to his house, and then you'd park off to the right and walk down, and he had all these aviaries with birds and stuff. And then you just walk into this massive shed, and it was just racks and racks and racks of fish that he was breeding. And he had concrete ponds for goldfish. So it was all this guy's house, which was really cool. So we bought white clouds. I still remember the noise of the air pump. That's funny now. Like, I don't use a lot of air pumps, but when they're sitting there, as aggravating as they are, it kind of always reminds me of my first fish tank. But yeah, that was when I was 8 years old. And then it's sort of been on and off ever since, like having for a few years, the fish pass away. As a kid, you lose a little bit of interest, and then you go, oh, what's this? A Nintendo 64. Sweet, I'll play with that for a couple of years. And then you go, fish again. But yeah, probably the last 5 years, I've got right into it again, yeah.
Cool. So over that period of time, what have you kept? Obviously, you've done the minnows. Did you end up getting the Oscars in the long run? Have you, sort of done a bit of everything in between, or are you quite specific on what it is you've kept me interested in?
No, I had what was next? I tried keeping Discus and failed miserably when I was probably 13 or 14 or something like that. Then what was next? Then I just had like a community tank with just I never had success with guppies.
Yeah.
Endler guppies, no problem, but fancy guppies. I now know why, because the water wasn't hard enough for them. But Crebensis, so your dwarf cichlids, swordtails, all the gouramis, all the sort of standard community fish.
Yeah,
And then I had an African tank with a lot of Lake Malawi cichlids, and I put an Oscar in with them.
Oh.
This is all part of my learning journey.
Mm.
And took him out and took him back to the fish store within a couple of days because I went, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know what it was? I think it was the tank was going so well that I went, I need to add something to it because it's just boring now. Like it's just everything's the same. And being uneducated and everything, I just went, that one looks good. So after that, now I keep, all the endlers. I'm into saltwater. I've got a saltwater tank there with a bunch of clownfish.
Mm-hmm.
Got a huge goldfish and lots of tetras and neon rainbows and all that sort of stuff. So I'm probably more of a nano fish guy now.
Yep.
Although, would you say rainbows and nano? Not really.
Depends on the rainbows, like the fork tails. And I know the neon dwarfs get a little bit bigger, and probably not nano, but definitely on the smaller scale as far as rainbows go as well. So nano to small is probably fair.
Yeah, I'm loving. So then the neon rainbows. I'm trying to think of the actual technical name. What is it?
Pracox.
Yeah, they're the smaller ones. I mean, smaller than most of the other rainbows. But anyway, they've got like 7 of those in a 4-foot tank all to themselves with some ottos going around. And they were breeding last summer, but they're very good at hunting their own babies. So I haven't got any to come out of that. But yeah, loving those guys and wouldn't mind getting more and dedicating a tank to them, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, I think they're quite a beautiful fish. Can be a bit of a tough sell. Most rainbows can be a bit of a tough sell from a fish store point of view because they obviously look a bit drab when they're in the shops. But a couple of months being at home, they just become some of the most stunning fish you can ever get your hands on, I think.
I think you're right. And especially when you get a bunch of them and you have, like, the females have the yellow fin and they're a bit more dull, like a lot of fish in the fish world. And the males really they really pop then because now they're competing and trying to have that hierarchy. They work really well. I think the thing that probably gets a lot of people with the rainbows is the price, because it's like, well, why are they so expensive? They don't look that special. They look cool, but as you said, they pop when they get home and they get established. But yeah, we look at like $20 of fish over here, and it's do you want to buy a pair for $35 and that sort of thing? And you go, it's a pretty big commitment when really I would want 10. I don't want
to get your proper effects on. That's about what they roughly are here as well, give or take. So here in New Zealand, there's massive limitations on what we can actually bring in and what fish we can keep. Is it like that for you over there, or is it kind of a bit more open? I know there's some fish that you can't have in. Like I've looked, there's some plecos you can't there's no way. Is there a lot of that kind of thing, or is it not too bad?
I am not well versed in what we can and can't have. The basic ones are that in Victoria you can't have koi, whereas you can have them everywhere else in the country. And over in WA, they're not allowed to have shrimp, which is, I don't know, it's obviously reasons for all of these things. But I can't think of anything. I mean, arowana, you can't have arowana.
Really?
No, it's illegal over here.
Wow.
We get, so a lot of people have Saratogas, which I'm not sure if they're the same family, but they look very, very similar. And Jardinis, but you can't have arowana in Australia. They're illegal.
Very interesting.
Pretty sure it's all of Australia. Definitely Melbourne, but I'm pretty sure it's all of Australia because I think there was a guy who got caught trying to bring like a red Asian arowana on the plane. He got caught with a fish on the plane, and he had some water sack that he had it around his neck. It's insane.
Wow. I suppose your waters would be warm enough to probably house that sort of thing, and they're aggressive and they're predatorial, and so you could probably see how they get into the wrong places could take over or become part of the food chain, or vice versa, really easily.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think maybe with I don't know how many years ago it was, but we had, well, I'm trying to remember, cane beetles up in the northern part of Australia. It was cane beetles. Can't remember the name of the beetle. There was beetles eating all the sugar canes.
Okay. Yep.
So then they went, hey, I've got an idea. Let's get these cane toads. They'll eat the beetle. So they get the cane toads, and now there is like a billion, I think it's literally a billion cane toads now in Australia. And they're like, we've got this problem with cane toads. And they're coming further and further south, apparently. So they're acclimating to the colder weather as well, I think. And the problem with the cane toad is they can kill a dog because they emit like a poison when they get scared on their back.
Yeah.
And if a dog goes up to, what's this, and have a bite and have a lick or whatever, it can actually kill a dog. So it's funny, you go up to Queensland, some parts of Queensland, it's just dead toads on the road every day.
Yeah, wow.
So I think maybe that's one thing that they do freak out about, because it's become a really apparent thing that, hey, whoa, Australia's a weird country because they only came here like a couple hundred years ago, and there's no real natural predators. Like there's obviously deadly snakes and sharks and that sort of thing. But on the mainland, like a dingo is a predator. But if you think about all of the Australian animals like kangaroos, emus, possums, koalas, they're not out there hunting each other. So when you put something else in the environment, all of a sudden, hey, if this thing could really take it. Like cats are a massive issue over here, killing all the wildlife. Yeah. I think Australia gets pretty strict with it. So it makes sense with the arowana. The koi, I don't really it's the same sort of thing. That I want an irresponsible person getting a koi, putting it in native waterways, and it out competing with the other fish. But it's kind of sad because I kind of always dreamed of having a koi pond one day.
If it makes you feel better, we don't get koi or shrimp over here.
Okay.
So neither, and it's probably the same reasons. Our native animals are pretty average. There's no major predators or anything like that that's not been introduced. So it's probably for the same reasons, getting into waterways. And up in the North Island, some koi's got some waterway and absolutely destroyed it. So again, it's probably for the same reasoning. But yeah, with you guys being a lot warmer than what we are, I can understand arowanas and some of the bigger, more predaceous fish doing that.
Yeah.
I'm also surprised that you guys don't have more predators. Like you think of Australia animals and you think they're all pointy or stabby or poisonous or rip you apart. So yeah, that's interesting. I would have thought that
cunning.
Snakes or spiders would have taken down the cane toads.
The spiders?
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think, I don't know. I suppose with spiders, they're not actively hunting bigger things. If they get on them, they're like, hey, I'm going to bite you because you're kind of pissing me off right now.
Yeah, very true.
So that's the same with you. So you can't have koi, you can't have shrimp. But you can have arowana.
We can, yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How much is an arowana if I wanted to walk into your shop?
Silver arowanas between 120 and 150-ish, give or take.
Really? I would have thought it would be very expensive.
Yeah. Blacks around 300 or so from last time, and then you're getting into your Asians when you're looking at four figures.
Okay.
But you're getting what you pay for.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I think Joey, the king of DIY, has a lot to answer for, with everyone going, oh, hang on, what are these? I want to get one. I think it's funny because it's like he started fish keeping trends like, I want a flower horn, I want an arowana. And it's probably an interesting one because it actually helped me learn a little bit more about going, oh, hang on, you can't get them over here. Why not? What's the Australian alternatives and that sort of thing. I'd love a Saratoga at some stage, but I was talking to someone about this the other day, like with Oscars and your bigger fish like that, you got to have the mentality that you're buying a dog or a cat.
Yeah, totally. It's
not just like, I've got this big tank, what am I going to put in it? This looks cool. It's like, yeah, this thing's going to live for a long time and it's going to grow. Are you ready? Commitment. So it's the sort of thing where I think I will probably move house in the next sort of 5 years, and the fish room will be a massive. Like there wasn't even an idea to have a fish room when we moved into this house.
Yeah.
But there'll be a dedicated area next time, and I'll probably do one big tank. And I was actually thinking this yesterday. Would I do, if I had a really big tank, would I just do a massive aquascape and lots of tiny fish, which is probably my preferred method. But I do like the idea of having a buddy, almost like having not necessarily a mascot for the channel sort of thing, but having like one big fish with a name and
essentially a wet pet. Yeah. And there's a lot to be said for that sort of fish and companion sort of scenario, as opposed to just a tank full of neons, for example, where they're all got a personality, but it's quite a lot harder to distinguish between each personality. Whereas you go stuff a big Oscar, for example, it is what it is, and it becomes a part of the family and a companion for sure.
Yeah. You know, one that I found very interesting is like people love those large fish. You walk up to the tank, or you walk in the room, and they go, "Oh, hang on, he's in here. Like it's maybe food time. I'm going to put on a show." Clownfish do the same thing, which I found really, really interesting. Like when I first got clownfish, they just, it's like as soon as I go over to the food and start feeding another tank, they're all like, "Oh, it's on." Like they just go, "Hey, we're going to get fed now," which I found really cool. So they're kind of like my little mini Oscars at the moment.
Very mini Oscars. Hey, what's the local fish store sort of scene like over where you are? Is there plenty of them around, or are they like a dying art, or big chains taking over? How's that kind of situated for you guys?
No, there's a few. The big chains don't really go to. The problem is the big chains don't. Realistically, they're probably not doing a bad job, but it's very uninspiring when you go into a big chain place and think about fish. They've got maybe 12, 16 tanks or something like that, all the same size. So all your sort of community fish that we were talking about earlier, that sort of stuff's readily available. But if you go into any of your other fish stores, obviously a specialist store, you kind of feel like they've got everything. You can start a journey with a fish tank. You can start from scratch, and as you improve in the hobby, they've got everything. So I don't really bother with the big chains, although they're around. But yeah, I think since last time you and I caught up and had a chat, I lost my local fish store. I feel like there's another one that's shut down too that are just escaping me at the moment. So yeah, there's a couple that have shut down. I think what's happening is, for better or worse, I think the really good ones are staying in a strong spot. And the other ones that are sort of, really trying to make a go of it, but can't invest in getting everything in that people want, are the ones that are sort of struggling at the moment. And the cost of living over here, like I actually get scared for some of them and just think, how can you stay open? Like you've got to sell these neon fish for $20 each, but how many people are to buy them? And then like petrol is $2.25 a litre. Like, and I see a lot of American. What is it over there?
It's in the $3. I think I'm borrowing my brother's car, which is diesel, which I've put some fuel into yesterday. I think it's $2.80 for diesel, $2.75 or something like that, which blew my mind. I think it's in the high threes from memory for normal petrol at the moment. Sorry, the low threes.
That's what I mean. Like, and interest rates are going up, and like just the cost of living. I just think I'm worried about a few of them. But there's like one that I can think of right now that's really doing a really good job, and they're expanding and they're getting into a bigger place, and they just do fish, but they do have so much salt water, so much coral, so much aquascaping stuff, so many different fish as well. Like they kind of are you walk in there and everything's there.
You're right.
Whereas then another store that I know that does pretty well is like they keep birds and they have all your other pet goods and all that sort of stuff. It's almost like a big chain store, but it isn't. It's a family-owned business, been there for like 60 years or something like that.
Wow. Cool.
So they aren't relying on fish keepers as well. People are coming in to buy their specialist dog food and hay for their rabbits and all that sort of stuff at the same time. But yeah, I don't know. I find it kind of scary. Like, I wouldn't open a fish store. No offense. Like, in my position over here, I would have to be like, no, I need to have. You need to sort of have everything you can, and if you can't have everything, then you need to sort of specialize in something. But then you really need to network with the other stores as well and go, well, look, you're really good at aquascaping. I'm really good with big fish. Like, if a customer comes in and says, I really want to do this, like, yep, go see Josh. He's got the big fish. And if they come into me and say, oh, I want to aquascape, go and see, my mate Boaz has a store and he's really good at aquascaping. Go and see him. Because I think for a little while there, they were all like, they wouldn't do that. They'd just be like, I'm not stepping into another aquarium. Are you crazy? I could lose business. Yeah.
But you can make sense from a business point of view as well. I can see absolutely both sides of it. We specialise in this, you specialise in that, make this work together. And same thing. I've got it for you. There you go. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's true too. Because like at the end of the day, you go, oh well, I did send him there because he said he wanted cichlids, and we don't keep him. But then you go, hey, how'd you go with that guy? Like, oh great, I sold him a tank, I sold him a filter. Like, oh, I should have sold him all the stuff, and then said you can get the fish from there.
What's the club scene like over there? Is there a few aquarium clubs, or is it nothing there? Is there a bit of that going around?
Yeah, there is. I'm not in any of them, so I have been to some of the auctions for. I can't remember is it a cichlid society? I think it is. There's one not too far from me. The reason I haven't is probably the same reason a lot of people don't. And I'm being completely honest, almost like there's like an intimidation factor of I'm going into a room where everyone knows everything about, and like these people seem to be super smart, great wealth of knowledge, but I'm not. I don't know. I just sort of don't want to walk into that sort of thing and then be like look at the hobby in a different way almost. But I think I will eventually. Like, I think I would. I'm also the sort of person that gets right into something, gets really involved. I don't just sit on the sideline and go, oh, that's kind of cool, and then rock up every month or whatever and not say anything. I also think that I might be like having a YouTube channel that's got a few subscribers now. When the people are like, oh, I've seen you. You can't do that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. I mean, I get all that on YouTube anyway, but I'm probably harsh on myself. I think people are going to say things on videos all the time, and then no one says anything. I go, oh, I'm just thinking of the one flaw that I've got in that video or something that is going to be exposed. But anyway, I have been to the auctions. They all seem really lovely. I love the idea of the clubs. I think the auction's the exciting part. My dad was a member, and he sent me all the magazines and stuff that he got when he got them. And I just found planaria in a tank. Sorry. And there's another one called ANGFA, which Australian New Guinea Fishkeeping Association, I think it is.
Yep.
They're a big one, and I'd love to join them as well because I think they actually do like an expedition every year.
Wow, cool.
And they go and they can actually take some fish out of the wild, and I think A, it would be really fun, and B, it would be really good video opportunity to share something like that and go, I haven't seen people catching fish in Australia. Like, I don't know what's out there. Unfortunately, they've got a massive meeting in October, exactly the same weekend that we've just announced the Underwater Pet Expo in Melbourne. And we can't move it either. So it's kind of like, it looks like we've done that on purpose, but we haven't. But I'm really excited about that. And that also is something that I've spoken to a lot of stores about, getting a booth at this expo to come along, because it's in the city and I live out in the southeast. I'm 50 Ks away from Melbourne. There was no representation from any of the stores. Oh, there was one actually. But a lot of the stores out my way. And I just thought, you guys need to get involved in this, because A, the more people, the better. But B, these people get inspired here and go, I'm going to do it. I am going to set that tank up. And I live out near Aqua Mate, but there's only one shop that I remember from the thing, so I'm going to drive all the way into wherever to get it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's also just a really cool atmosphere. Last year was, not last year, it was 2 years ago we did the inaugural Underwater Pet Expo, so it's sort of like an aqua sheller for Australia. It was just so much fun. I only went for one day, whereas this year I probably go for both days. And this year I'm involved in organising it, so I'm trying to think of a few things that we can do a little bit better and a little bit different and make it even more fun. Probably a little bit more kid friendly, like just like face painting and that sort of thing. So there's a little bit of activities going on, not just, oh, look how cool these fish tanks are. And they had aquascaping competitions for the kids. They could go in and I think you could put a few things together and you could take it home with you. So like you'd pay the kids to go aquascape for 20 minutes or whatever, make something, and then they get to take that home and start a fish tank, which is really cool.
Neat. That's really cool.
Yeah, and then they have a massive aquascape competition that we have international judges judging that one. That will go, I think they have 8 hours to scape a 150-litre tank, 3-foot tank, I think it is.
Yep.
So there, that one's going to be fun, and I think there might be Blake might, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, might be hosting it, I suppose. Walking around with a microphone, checking everything out. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year.
There's something to be said about a bunch of like-minded individuals getting together, and I believe that sort of situation is quite relaxed and calming the expo, although it's hustle bustle, but it's also relaxing and quite easygoing, if that makes sense. At the same time, even being around and just literally talking about fish and aquariums and stuff, it's quite a nice vibe and quite a nice feeling. At least the ones or twos that I've been to have felt that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing. You can have a chat with. It's almost like you can walk up and look at a stall and other people looking at the stall, and you don't mind turning to the person next to you that you've never met and go, "How cool's that?" Like, sort of bond over rather than, like almost like I was saying I feel a little bit like with clubs and stuff where you go, oh, a bit intimidated. Should I be having an opinion here? Whereas that's not really the case, I suppose, at an expo. It's just everyone's putting stuff out there for you to enjoy. Obviously, there's people want to sell stuff while they're there. That's the point.
Yeah, of course.
Brand awareness and selling. But I've just been talking to another group, and I'm like, well, yeah, if you're going to do something, you've got to make it fun. Like, don't just go, here's us, come and buy stuff.
Buy our stuff,
What are your strengths? Like, they're connected to a YouTube channel, so, like, let's get a TV set up and let's have that YouTube going, and people go, I know that. So then that drags them in. And then have, like, a questionnaire box. Answer questions, and then at the end of the day, make people hang out around the area at a certain time of the day and draw out some winners and get free stuff. So, yeah, I think a lot of those things are a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I also I understand your vibe of your feeling with the clubs, with the feeling of intimidation. I've been to a few different clubs, and sometimes you do get that feeling of, oh, and other times it's completely welcoming. Like anything, it depends on the people that are there and how they all gel together and the general attitude of people in and around who you're with in the room at the time as well. So I think every club is completely different. Some are welcoming and others are a bit more staunch. It just depends on the people and individual personalities and things like that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm probably being a little bit unfair because I haven't given it a proper go, but it's like my fear, I suppose. But like, for example, my dad was in a yacht club, remote control yachts. And they're all like 60 plus pretty much. And that's what I noticed at the fish club as well. And me and him, we're related, so very similar. He got involved heavily and stuff. And yeah, every now and then he'd just like, I didn't sign up for all the politics and all the crap. Like, I don't want any of that. Like, some of the fish stores and stuff have said, oh, you know, they say things about other people in the industry and like, oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. There's some, you know, there's some shady characters and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to stay out of that too. YouTube even has that sort of like, everyone here's probably heard of the Fish Fam and part of the Fish Fam and like YouTubers that are in the Fish Fam and that sort of thing. I can only think of like a handful of occasions, but you know, there's some of the crap that happens with that. You kind of go, that's not what I signed up for. I just wanted to make videos and talk with like-minded people, but there's always a few rotten eggs.
Yeah. I think that's applicable to any situation where a bunch of like-minded people come together, regardless of the reason they're in the same room together. There is always that, just human nature, basically.
Yeah. So I suppose that's the thing is, I haven't done it because for fear of, you know, that sort of situation arising. Also, I'm 36. My son plays football on Sundays, plays basketball on Saturdays, training Mondays, training Tuesdays. You kind of go, when am I actually going to go?
Yeah. And I'm sure anyone with kids knows the exact feeling that you're feeling as well. And it literally gets put down to one word, and it's just life.
Yeah.
You know? You get pulled in every way you've got to go. It just is what it is.
Yes.
Even if you're ridiculously organised, you're still being pulled in 10 different directions.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, obviously, you do YouTube. You've been on YouTube for what, 3 or 4 years now, something like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
3. Yeah, something like that.
So, what was your original thought pattern to do that?
All good.
Yep, we're good now. The screen just flipped away to something else. You know what was quite going on there?
Just quickly, Brian. Yes, pseudomoguls are amazing, and I have kept some of them, and I just didn't quite get it right. And I'm going to try and do a pseudomogul tank in the future and make sure that I'm really looking after them and getting them correct. But that they are amazing up in Queensland as well as the rainbows. But I just read that comment before. YouTube, it was actually just going hand in hand with wanting to get back in the hobby again. So like a lot of people in a lot of hobbies, you want to get a little bit more information. So you jump on YouTube and go, fish tanks. What sort of, like, I want to get, what was it? I'm trying to remember what fish I was trying to get to begin with. I think it was Discus. Yeah, it was me trying to set up with Discus. So I was looking at Discus videos, and then I found like the King of DIY, Rachel O'Leary, Solid Gold Aquatics, Aquarium Co-op, all those channels and stuff. And I found that I was watching a video every day of someone at least, and sort of immersing myself in that world of, this is really cool. I love what they're doing. And then I was like, I'd love to do something like that. Like what's probably a couple of people have said to me, what does your channel like stand for? And I'm like, well, I want to help people like learn how to overcome their fears in the hobby and, you know, help beginners and that sort of thing. But I don't really, but I'm more sort of like following a journey of what I'm doing, almost like vlogging. So I try and have a bit of a balance of that. So I want to try and give a few educational videos. And then like last night, it was just, hey, I'm going to give you an update on these things I was talking about. Because, I mean, they're all relevant in that I set up a Nintendo tank. So I've got to show you how it's going. I set up a Dutch scape. I've got to show you how that's going. So it all kind of went hand in hand. And then I enjoyed doing the videos as much as I was enjoying the fish. So it's kind of, years and years and years ago, I did media at school, and I thought this would be really cool. I like being creative, and it gives you that outlet. And then I just didn't do anything. I just went exactly life. All of a sudden, you have to have a job. You have to pay bills. And then, getting my phone out and filming, and then learning how to edit, and then going, I'm loving this, and then buying a decent camera and stuff. It's just been really therapeutic. Nice. And I also like that no matter what happens in the week, if you film a video and edit it and put it out there, you've captured something, you've wrapped it in a bow, and then you've just put it out to the world and gone, yeah, I achieved something this week. There's something that I know at the end of the week I've done, and it's out there.
Yep, very cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Are you finding the video making... What was that, sorry?
I told you I could talk a lot. We weren't going to have a problem.
Do you find the video processing or the video process is becoming a bit of a hobby to you, or has it become a chore? Are you still enjoying that? What are you enjoying more, the fish keeping or the videoing? Like, they go hand in hand together?
Yeah. I enjoy the fish more. The camera, yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying everything with the video creating, except like it is the most frustrating thing when you envisage something and you're trying to put it together. It's just not working the way you want. It's probably the trickiest and most annoying thing is like I got an ONF light a couple days ago or a week ago. And I was all excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to set up a wabi kusa. I'm going to use this light. Like, this is it. Like, if I can't do well with this light, it's just purely down to just me not maintaining it properly or whatever, because the amount of tanks I've seen with that light, the amount of wabi kusas I've seen with that light, that just looks stunning. So I'm hit the nail on the head. I've got the right stuff. But I was so excited to open it, but I couldn't open it because I didn't have it in me to make a video while I was doing it. So, like, I was like, don't waste the opportunity if you don't have the camera on you. So that kind of gets a bit frustrating every now and then. Like, I filled up a tank over here, and the camera was flat. So I was like, oh, I've got to charge that before I even start that, because you regret it later on and go, oh, like making good videos. Sometimes I spent 40 minutes filling that tank up, scaping and filling it up, and I had the camera rolling the whole time. That'll be a 12-second clip in a video. So like all that, it's so worth it because it takes you on that journey of going, look, I can see what he's done here. I stuffed that bit up, but I would have done this. I would have done it. Oh, but it actually looks cool at the end or whatever, you know. And it also is that visual thing of rather than just standing next to a tank and just talking about it and giving the viewer some stimulation on what's happening. So if you don't grab the camera at those opportunities, your videos become stale, and then I'm less excited about editing it, and I'm less excited about showing you. So they go hand in hand in a really good way to document things, but they also it's almost like they have to go hand in hand the way I do things. Otherwise, it's just I mean, if I get anything new for the fish tank, I need to film it.
Keep the gums.
Yeah, well, that's it. So yes, I love doing it, but that is a kind of weird hamstring every now and then.
I can understand exactly where you're coming from and how you're coming from that point. To an extent, I get new products in the shop and I've got to make sure it's all ready before I go, hey, wow, got these kind of thing, as opposed to just chuck them on and walk away. So I kind of understand where that comes from as well. Before we go any further, Brian, I'd just like to apologise to you and everybody else who's talking in the comments. It's normally John that takes over bringing up the questions and that kind of stuff, and obviously John's not here, and it just keeps passing me by. So if you are asking questions in the comments and I haven't done anything with it, I'm sorry. Josh obviously took care of your question before. So yeah, that's a bad cam. It's a slap on the hand for me. I'll try better next time. Sorry. So how many tanks you got running at the moment?
7, I think.
Yep. Just in your fish room, or you got some scattered around the house as well, or have you got you're not allowed out of the garage rule?
I've got 9 at the moment. I've got a big 4-foot one in the lounge room that doesn't get a lot of coverage. I did a big scape and it has not worked the way I wanted it to work. And I bought a crappy light. And I think what I need to do, and the filter keeps stuffing up. It's all just going against me on that one. And I put in a lot of Java mosses and all that sort of stuff, and they've sort of taken over. I'm going to give it a big cut back and see if it's going to look good. If it's not I'm not happy with it. I'm ripping the whole thing apart. But that's the one with the rainbows in it, and they're really happy. So like from a fish keeping perspective, killing it. From a aquascaping video perspective,
Yep.
not what I wanted. And because it's in the lounge room, that was the whole idea, was to make a really nice tank that we can enjoy, that looks pretty, not messy. It doesn't look bad, but it just doesn't look what I wanted. And also there's a lot of tannins and I cannot get rid of them.
Try Purigen?
But otherwise, everything else is in the garage, yeah.
Have you tried Purigen for the tannins?
Twice.
Really? And no dice?
No. It's just, I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
That's why you can't see because we're on the thingy angle, but that's why I've got wood soaking over here on that one because I don't want to repeat the same mistake.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I've tried it twice. Daniel Keeping Fish did a video on reusing Purigen by bleaching it and stuff, and I just keep forgetting to get bleach, and I'll follow his video step for step because I've got 2 sachets of it. I'll might try and double dose it because I love the pieces of wood. So that's the other thing. Like if I'm not happy with the scape and I do everything again, I still want to use that wood.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't want those tannins.
Yeah. Have you got the you're not allowed a dirty tank rule in your house as well? Because I've got that rule.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I get, if I let things go, I get you said you were doing this. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's the other one that's embarrassing actually is a lot of like Harry's friends, parents and stuff, they like, oh, we're watching your videos, it's really cool and stuff. And then they'll come over to pick up and they'll see the tank and go, oh, doesn't look bad.
What's going on here?
Oh, no, come out to the garage. I'll show you this one. This one looks cool.
Yeah. So you got one.
How many have you got inside?
Oh, how many have I got inside? Well, 1.
Yep.
And it doesn't have any fish in it either.
That was the angel tank?
No, that went a long time ago.
Okay.
Just as partner was pregnant, sort of due to give birth, she gave me the hard word, and yes, I'm blaming it all on her. That we needed more room in the house, and I had to get rid of it. So we did that.
Yep.
So I've got a dual Rio 240 in the corner. It was fully stocked up with fish up until about a month ago, and then I was like, I've had enough of this, I want to change it. So I pulled all the fish out and took all the plants out except for some of the ones that I wanted to keep, and that's about as far as I've gone so far.
Okay.
So
what are you going to put in it?
That's why I haven't gone any further, because I don't know. Goldfish have gone through my mind several times. I've never done a goldfish tank. I thought I might. Because I'm not allowed to have a dirty tank. There goes the blackwater option, which would be right up my alley if I could.
Yep.
I've thought about going with just a proper full community tank, a whole bunch of platies, just looking for bright and colourful. But I actually thought I might do that in the shop because I spend more time in the shop than what I do at home. So yeah, I'm kind of no idea what I'm going to put in it yet. Thought about a frog, terrarium. I just don't know.
I want to try a frog one day. Yeah. But again, that's one of those, like the big tank, next fish room, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like, I've got the Dutch scape over there, and I've got an algae problem, and some of the plants haven't come on. Some of them have gone nuts, and I'm like, this is what I wanted, and that's not what I wanted on that side. So trying to level that out, balance it. I'm still going round and round, like, what fish am I actually going to put in here?
Yeah. I think another problem for me is, like, I obviously order fish every couple of weeks, so I see all these lists of fish that are coming through, and it's all, well, I could put them in there. And it's just possibly too much choices at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Then you get down the rabbit hole of researching and paying attention to this, and this will go with this, and then you're still stuck with an empty tank again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How many litres?
It's only 240 or something like that.
Okay.
It's not ginormous.
But big enough to give you a lot of options, yeah.
Oh, yeah, plenty of options there. It's about nailing the right selection of what I want to do more than anything. So, yeah.
No, definitely. I think my goal eventually will be to have probably like 5 3-foot tanks or something, all on one bench, all completely neat, perfectly clean, all the mess underneath, and then just do different aquascapes and have black water, have a Dutch scape, have a natural scape, maybe I don't know, maybe one salt water or something. So be great for the channel, obviously, but I think I'd really get a kick out of just trying to keep those 5 different tanks that all look exactly the same, all the same equipment, maybe different lights, but same filters or whatever. That's the kind of goal that I want to do in the new fish room. So I want to actually spend a bit of money that when we go somewhere and we have a shed and we're like, cool, I'm plastering this up, I'm putting in a split system, I'm building a bench, go all out on it. Because that's sort of like the dream. But the same thing, you kind of go, yeah, but what fish are you going to keep in it?
Definitely.
I think a blackwater tank with cardinals is something I really want to do.
Yeah.
And then do I want to add the discus and make it harder? Or maybe I do, because maybe that's me going, because I have kept discus since my first failure and I kept them for over a year. Eventually died, so I did okay. I mean, they were breeding, well, not breeding, they were laying eggs.
Yeah.
And, so I've come a long way on that side of things. But I also said to myself when they passed away, I'm like, you've got to, it's almost again like the cat dog mentality of this is like a big commitment fish.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
This isn't, I've got ember tetras over here and the water's actually pissing me off because it's so cold over here. The water is evaporating really quickly. Like the tank's like that far down, so I've got to fill it up. So it's making lots of noise, but that's all I do to that tank is I just go and top it up. That's nice and easy. Once a week, chuck some water in it.
Yeah. You probably won't be able to get away with that with discus.
No. Exactly. And that will be the thing. Like if you set it all up properly and you go all out, see, and that's the other thing, a 3-foot tank with discus wouldn't work. So there you go. I'm already got a flaw. But yeah, you would have like a set up water change routine and I would try and plumb it all in. So it's just like connect this, turn this, out it goes, and in it comes.
Yeah.
No more carrying buckets because I'm only getting older. It's gonna give away one day.
Mid-30s, too old to carry a bucket.
What is a climbing gourami?
I believe she's talking about the spotted gouramis.
Not a croaking one?
Quite often known as bushfish as well over here.
Okay.
Yeah. Not when you think gourami, you don't really think of them per se. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the one. Semi predatorial. Well, very predatorial. Get to a good size. Quite a nice fish in the right situation, the right setting.
Sea tenopoma.
Yeah,
when you put Google it together, I get confused. Oh wow, they're a native, are they?
No.
They're very cool. How big do they get?
12, 15 centimeters, something along those lines.
That one's big. Yeah, they're pretty.
They I nearly grabbed one for the blackwater tank that I've set up in the shop, but I decided not to in the end. Just probably get a little bit too big for the size that I had. So yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen those around at all before. That was one thing with the Dutch scape. I was thinking of going lemon tetras and chocolate gouramis.
Yeah, nice fish.
But I'm not 100% sure yet. But they're the sort of two that I've like never kept lemon tetras. I'd love to. I haven't kept gourami for a long time, but I've always loved them. I'm actually they're a victim of everyone on YouTube in chats going, "Oh no, don't get gourami. They're vicious and they mess things up and blah blah blah." Yeah. And I'm like, I can't remember mine being like that. And then is it just because I've forgotten or?
There's definitely some aggressive gouramis and stuff, but at least the ones that I deal with don't tend to be too bad.
Yeah.
I sell quite a few of them. Again, they're pretty looking fish, lots of colour. They're in your face the whole time. They're quite nice.
Yep.
Chocolate gourami is easily my favourite gourami.
Yep.
Massive fan of them. A little bit temperamental, but yeah, I like them. I like that natural brown sort of creamy stripes as opposed to the bright in-your-face colouring of them.
Well, that's the thing. I think, like in a Dutch scape, as long as the parameters are okay, I have to do some research. But like the colours of the plants and everything, so the patterns of the chocolate gourami is like what I find appealing, and the behaviour. So to watch, I mean, your lemon tetras are going to dart around everywhere, but your chocolate gouramis are going to sit more towards the top. They're going to have those patterns on them, and they're going to be in and out of the top of the plants. So yeah, and I've never kept them.
I like lemon tetras. I think they're nice and active. It's hard to really get that really bright, intense yellow on them. It's possible, but it does take a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame because you get that popping yellow, it'll work quite well. But I think they're almost bulletproof. They're ridiculously hardy, which is nice.
That's a big bonus.
They're a nice little fish. I've did a school of them and with some discus for a while, and they worked. I think it's 70 odd. Worked really well in a 4-foot tank together. So
that's cool. Michelle said she's had one of those gouramis 6th birthday recently, so they live for a long time.
They do live for a while. Again, they're a commitment, and
yeah.
Well, I've got about 5 minutes to go until I've got to open my shop. So we're going to have to, although I feel like we could probably talk for another 5 hours, probably going to have to run it in an end very, very soon.
No, that's cool. I've got to go and pick up some stuff. I've got a crazy day ahead, and I think I've got to just nail everything this morning, and then because I'm not working today, and we've got a long weekend coming up, and we're going away tonight.
Yep.
So I just want to get everything done, and then be like,
have a beer at 2 o'clock.
About that. We're staying in a pub, so I don't have to walk. I don't have to drive anywhere.
Even handier. So normally when I do an interview, I like to close it off with 6 really random questions. This hasn't really been an interview, but we're still going to do that anyway. Basically, the only thing that I had organised was this here, which I did this morning.
So this is the best bit of the video. Thanks for hanging around for 52 minutes.
Bit of what I've got. Yep.
We got there.
All right, so we've got the quick school of 6 questions, so we're going to fire them in. Heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Yeah, good call. Paper, scissors, rock is the most noble way of any argument. What do you call when you're playing paper, scissors, rocks?
Scissors, I suppose. Maybe.
Oh, you're doubting yourself.
You got to look into the eyes of the other person and really feel it. I thought Rochambeau was the most noble way of settling an argument.
Possibly the most painful way if you go second. Do you think we're the only ones in the universe?
Nah, not a chance.
Nah. Yep. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
Good man.
One of the few places it belongs, because it doesn't belong in a lot of other things, I think.
Tell you what, a ring of canned pineapple and some hot sauce works incredibly well together. The vinegar from the hot sauce and the spice, great combination, but that's just a little sidetrack.
Yeah, that could be good, especially for someone that's giving up meat.
Yeah. That is what it is. I can't read my own writing. Oh, no. What have I got here? I've written something down, but I can't read it. So my next question is, actually, I remember it now. When you were younger, what did you want to be?
A park ranger.
A park ranger? Is that so you could deal with animals?
Yeah. That was... It's kind of funny because I never did anything with it, obviously. Well, not obviously. I didn't. I'm in sales and corporate-y, crappy places. But it's almost like the fish and the channel is almost fulfilling that dream in a way that, like, caring for animals and learning more about the habitats and then helping educate people. So it's funny. It's almost... It went out of my head for 20 years, and it's definitely not the same thing, but it's sort of along the same sort of inspiration behind what I'm doing, I suppose.
Yep.
Yes.
Before I ask the last question, was there a quick question on the chat?
Yeah, I just read that. Yeah.
If you are in, where's it gone? There we go. If you're not in New Zealand, I would probably try and isolate it and go with Furan 2, if you can get hold of that. Especially if it's the only angel that has the issue with the fin rot. If you're not in New Zealand, tonic salt might be an option again if you can isolate the fish. But Furan 2 is probably going to be your best option if you can get your hands on it to start with. That would be what I would go with over the Pimifix if you can get hold of it.
I am a big believer in trying the salts to kill off any of the bacteria or anything. But fin rot, I haven't had fin rot for a long time, so I can't really think of the best medicine.
All right, cool. So, lucky last question that I have for you. What's your unicorn fish?
I don't know. Really lame. Honestly, it's not actually that hard. What I would like is to create a really nice aquascape and have like 100 rummy nose tetras. So they're a common fish, but 100 of them's not common. And I think, I don't know, just imagine like a 6-foot tank. I mean, you could have more than 100, I reckon. Maybe 150 in a 6-foot tank, planted aquarium, just moving as one. I think that's my dream tank. Actually working with a local tattoo artist at the moment to design either a new Aqua Mate logo or something based around rummy nose tetras. So I've given him some really bad ideas, so I'm keen to see what he comes up with.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, well, that's all I've got. So I've pretty much got to open my shop in about 2 minutes' time, so I need to love you and leave you.
Not a problem. Linda's asking how much salt.
Yeah, I'll send you a message in about 5 minutes, and we can go through that and see what we can do as far as salt goes and what you've got going on there, Linda.
Cool.
For anyone that is obviously watching on Facebook, once I've opened the shop up in about 10 minutes' time, I've got some fish that have come in this morning that we'll do an unboxing for as well. So if you want to stick around for that, there are some more exciting times coming up. Other than that, I hope everybody has a really nice day. It's nice and early for you, so I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you very much for having me. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. And Big Tank Hank, hello. But let's do this again soon. Lots sooner than last time.
Yeah, works for me, mate. No worries.
Done. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good one, team. Thank you.